Welcome to the latest episode of Worldly Wise, the Federal's weekly program that attempts to deconstruct a key issue in international politics. The world continues to be stunned, rattled, and in some cases shocked at the speed and flurry of decisions by United States President Donald Trump since he took office for a second term on January 20th this year. In just over a month, Trump has upended global politics, turning the Russia Ukraine war on its head, treating an 8-decade old alliance with Western Europe with utmost contempt, and imposing reciprocal tariffs on friends and foes alike. India is no exception either. Within the US, too, Trump has shaken the establishment, threatening to lay off an estimated 50,000 federal government employees. He has created a department for government efficiency under businessman Elon Musk that acts independently even of the Congress. Trump has abolished some cornerstones of US policy like the diversity, equity, and inclusion or DEI. He has completely shoved aside LGBTQ while recognizing only male and female genders. Trump has rejected what he calls wokeism, and all this is part of that. Much of what he has done and intends doing were spelled out in his first address to the Congress on Wednesday. The spate of far reaching decisions borders on madness, some would say. But hold it. It is not as arbitrary as what one thinks. There is a method to the madness. It is a drive to fundamentally alter US society, politics, and administration. And yes, there is a blueprint that broadly guides what Trump is doing. Look up Project 2025, a vision document put together by the US's conservative right-wing think tank, Heritage Foundation. You will see why Trump is doing what he is doing. Project 2025 is the Bible for the Trump administration and the right-wing coterie behind him that has returned to power. It's an extreme section of the Republican Party that is now mainstreamed. It is not unusual for various US think tanks to publish vision documents on all sides of the political spectrum. But what makes Project 2025, a 922-page document, stand apart is the utmost seriousness with which it is being implemented by the Trump administration. Besides this, there is a 180-page booklet that reports say contain more precise details of what Trump needs to do in the first 6 months of his tenure. But this booklet has not been made public. Now, the Project 2025 document was put together by around 100 conservative groups, many of whom today are part of the Trump administration. Russell Watt, a Christian activist, has been described as the chief architect and inspiration behind the project document. He now heads the Office of Budget Management in Trump's government, which administers a nearly $7 trillion federal budget. Another document author, John Ratcliffe, has been appointed CIA director in the Trump administration. According to the BBC, Project 2025 sets out 4 main policy aims: restore the family as the centerpiece of American life, dismantle the administrative state, defend the nation's sovereignty and borders, and secure God-given individual rights to live freely. The frantic efforts to deport illegal immigrants that literally began a day or so after Trump's inauguration is a top recommendation of the Project 2025 document. When it was made public in April 2023, portions of the Project 2025 document was met with resistance and condemnation by a wide swathe of American society. The Democrats, under the then President Joe Biden, spoke about the document extensively during election campaigns. Presidential candidate Kamala Harris even warned of an attempt being made by the Trump camp to subvert US democracy, and she cautioned voters against bringing back Trump to power. She said, the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious. The Center for American Progress, another think tank, described the Project 2025 as one that would destroy the 250-year-old system of checks and balances upon which US democracy has relied, and gives far-right politicians, judges, and corporations more control over American lives. Noting the widespread opposition that Project 2025 was evoking among a whole lot of people during the election campaign, Trump washed his hands of the document and said he completely opposed it. Trump even claimed he had nothing to do with it. He said, I know nothing about Project 2025 he said this on his social media platform, Truth Social. I disagree with some of the things they are saying, and some of the things they are saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Now, looking back, it is clear that Trump's distancing from the document was a tactical move, lest it backfired during voting. So vociferous was he and his team in playing down Project 2025, it moved out of the limelight by the time voting happened in November last year. Trump returned to power successfully, and Project 2025 is back center stage. The changes are fundamental. Project 2025 recommends direct presidential control of the entire federal setup, including independent institutions like the Department of Justice. This would make Trump extremely powerful and dilutes the democratic character of the administration. The FBI is not spared too. The document is quoted by reports as describing the Federal Bureau of Investigation as a bloated, arrogant, increasingly lawless organization. It calls for a complete revamp of the agency and several others. The document has also trained its guns on the federal government's Department of Education, asking that it be scrapped. It instead calls for controlling and funding of education to be in the hands of parents, local and state governments. So much of what one is seeing in terms of the shakeup of the US's federal establishment has already been outlined in the document. The intention is to replace the thousands of federal officials with carefully chosen Trump and conservative Republican supporters that will perpetuate a right-wing government for years to come and fundamentally alter the face of the United States. According to reports, by the time the Trump administration's time comes to an end 4 years from now, the intention is to staff at least 20,000 individuals who think along the lines the president does. So when the Trump administration and his blue-eyed boy, Elon Musk, say that the retrenchments are with a view to reduce federal spending, take it with a pinch of salt. Their real intention is far more sinister. If Project 2025 continues to remain the blueprint for Trump, which it most likely will, the coming 4 years will unfold radical changes of a kind that the US has rarely seen in its 250-year history since independence in the late 18th century. Thank you.